And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, February the 19th, 2022. It is Season 16, Episode 6. I'm Scott.
I'm RJ.
I'm Wendy.
And welcome to the show, everybody. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our phone number is 334-272-9228, 334-272-9228. Check out ingamechat.net for all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat. You can also find us on Facebook there as well. You can email us, everyone, at ingamechat.net. Streaming right now on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv. Type in In-Game Chat in the search bar. You can find us there. Go to our website and scroll all the way to the bottom. And you can find links directly into the room where you can watch us, chat with us. And then if you got Discord, which you can put Discord on your phone if you want to do that. And it's also on your PC if you would like to do that. No cameras involved on that. It's just strictly audio, or at least it is the way we use it anyway. But yeah, you can actually join us on the air. You don't even have to call in. Use Discord to do that with. Just find us on Discord. Again, go to our website, ingamechat.net, and you can have that taken care of. Let me do this real quick, because I always forget, or at least I remember for a while, and then I forget for a while. So don't want to forget anymore. There we go. All right, now that my laptop is finished updating, I can now use it instead of the, what? It still says there's an update? Yep, still says there's an update. Wow. Anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. All right, welcome into the show, and let's start. It's been 2 weeks, and, you know, nobody got bought in the 2 weeks we were gone. Although we did find out that Ubisoft was probably wondering why nobody was interested in buying them. If everybody else was getting snagged up, why didn't anybody want to buy us? No, there was a thing about that. They were actually kind of curious as to, oh yeah, that's right. I tried to move my mouse on my iPad thing. But yeah, there was something about Ubisoft.
What, they felt insulted or something?
Nothing like that. Let's see where it was. No, that's not it. Yeah, maybe I didn't have it in here. I thought I did. Oh, there it is. As billions fly, Ubisoft analysts just wondering why nobody wants to buy it. As this article opens here, this works a lot better on the laptop here.
I'll just first say take an assessment of everything you have, and then the answer should come to you.
Yeah. With 3 massive game industry acquisitions this year already, everybody's wondering what'll happen next. In a consolidated industry, I guess I'm just wondering why you guys haven't had an offer given the embedded value in your IP, Walker asked. Is it because in order to be acquired, you have to signal that you want to be acquired and that you haven't done that? Here was the response. We will not speculate on why people would not have made any offer. What is interesting, and he was interrupted, if any offer were made actually, The guy goes back and says, absolutely. So I can't comment on that any further. What we can say is that, as we mentioned, we have high-value assets. We have the scale to remain independent and create very meaningful value in the future because we have scale in terms of a workforce as well as engineering, blah, blah, blah. That's why we're able to serve so many platforms today with such high-quality content. But we won't comment if there have been any offers, said a spokesperson. With any decision, it's always based in interest of our stakeholders, including employees, players, and shareholders. Ubisoft can remain independent. That's an interesting thought. We have the talents, the industry. I've never considered Ubisoft independent. I'm sure at one time they were. I think all studios at one time probably started out independent.
Yeah, small beginnings, yeah.
Ubisoft can remain independent. We have the talents. If there were an offer, it would, of course, be reviewed by the board of directors, and then, of course, an ad pops in and just completely makes me remove my because I can't put ad. I guess I can't put ad blockers on this thing. I'd like to. Yeah, and then I just lost my space again because it changed orientation. Wonderful. Yeah. Anyway, that was the whole point. Was that hey, everybody else is getting bought. Why not us? But they're not for sale, apparently. So, hey, we already have a phone call coming in, which we will get to here in just a second.
Hey, Chris, hold on.
Let's go to Chris. We'll just get him right on the line. Oh, hey, Chris, you there?
Yeah, hello, y'all. How are y'all this afternoon?
We are good. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. I wouldn't know if you were aware of this, but have you heard about the news about the collector's edition of the Forbidden West on any of the systems, that, like the collectors that had the statues and everything?
Oh, yeah. Very aware of those.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of them having just a digital code, but supposedly all the physical ones of the collectors were that way, except for the standard and our special.
Right. Yeah. If you just picked up the game, the box, like just the regular old jewel case game type thing. I say jewel case. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Amaray case. Is that what that is? Anyway, whatever.
Game case.
Just basically, you pick up the game case in the store, the regular edition, launch edition, whatever they want to call it. That comes with a disc. But if you want to pick up any of the collector's editions, the special editions, anything like that, you're going to get a download code.
Yeah, of course, I didn't know that and all. I'm going to plan on calling them and letting them know my issues about that. But, yeah, I thought that was a little cheap of them. What, don't you?
Well, the weird thing is that it comes with a steelbook.
Yeah.
Both editions come with a steelbook.
Mm-hmm.
And
this isn't the first time this has been done before where there's no disc, just a bunch of features and whatnot. I remember a Call of Duty one was like that. It was just a digital code, no disc involved at all.
Yeah, it's perfectly capable of holding a disc. It's a steelbook.
It's supposed to hold a disc.
What it's made for, and I don't understand why they don't include that. It doesn't bother me. I'm not big on physical, digital, that sort of thing. It's never been a thing. If I were to buy a collector's edition or a special edition, I'm not buying it because it does come with the game. I mean, it does come with the game. That's understood, but that's not the reason I'm buying it. If all I wanted it was for the game, I wouldn't be spending that extra amount of money for that. I just buy the game.
Yeah, you want the statue and the bonuses.
And so it doesn't.
Me too.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me which way it packs, which way they pack it in. But I can totally understand somebody who wants that physical edition, and I also can totally not understand why they include a case to hold the disc, but not the disc.
No disc, yeah.
Now,
I ended up buying a regular edition too, just so I could have the disc. But like a couple months ago.
I'll take your digital copy if you don't mind.
Well, I'm not planning on opening up the collector's edition.
Oh, you're not going to open it?
I'm leaving it sealed. Yeah. But then again, I'll see what I'm going to talk to them and call them when they're open, throughout the week next week, and see what I want to toss the ball in their court.
Who are you going to call? You going to call Sony?
Yeah, I'm going to call Sony and tell them about it and tell them my quarrels about it. Probably won't do any good, but I'll let them know my. I mean,
it's always good. Voice your opinion, man. But
don't take a shot. This is calling Capcom directly is the reason I was able to find Resident Evil on the Saturn. So give it a shot.
Yeah,
I mean the worst they can do is ignore the call or just say no. But that's it.
I mean, I still got the regular edition that I bought as well. Once we know, even the store clerk that checked me out, she didn't even realize it, and then the customer that was behind me was wondering about it too, and it hadn't heard about it, and he was surprised, and they were pretty much saying WTF, and they were kind of disgusted with the whole fact too.
Well, yeah, the general assessment with a collector's edition of anything video game related, you would think a disc is coming in there with it. It's collectible. Yeah. You want all the bells and whistles that come with it. And I'm in the camp that you were talking about, Scott. I want a disc. I prefer a physical disc with something. And if I do get a special edition, I would double dip. Like, for instance, Windjammers. Windjammers 2 came out recently from Dotemu. And I bought the limited run edition, and that's on the way.
Yeah.
But before that got here, I already got the digital copy on the PlayStation Store. So I'm double dipping in that. And maybe that's what they're trying to do to get folks to double dip or something. I don't know. Maybe that's a little far-fetched, but still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, possibly. Yeah. I don't know. Hey, by the way, if you do talk to them, see if they give you a reason as to why this is why we don't pack in physical editions of the game in our big box special editions. If they give you some reason as to why that is,
it won't be the truth. But go ahead.
It won't. But feel free to let us know next week.
Yeah. Also, I want to tell them, previous, like you may have been aware, except for a couple months ago, I didn't have good internet out here in the boonies. I only had like Verizon, over the hotspot through their cell service.
Yeah.
Which that was like 15 gigs a month. And then on top of that, I could use my cell phone as a hotspot and, get that. But, plus the update, that would have took me 3 months. And then if there was a big update, unless I wanted to pay through the nose through internet or take it to a buddy's house, I would have had close to 4 months to even download the game since it's almost 100 gigs.
That's another. Yeah. See, that's an aspect I didn't even think about.
See,
you're right.
Yeah, that's something I never thought about either because I usually deal with discs anyway, and I never thought about the aspect of if it's digital only and your internet's kind of shifty.
Mm-hmm.
What are your options if that's the case? Sit there and wait, or buy better internet.
Of course, the other thing that you're running into, and you may or may not care about this, Chris, but when you use that download code, or at least when you buy that collector's edition thing, and you don't open it, you're missing out on all the bonuses that come with buying that. Yeah. And I don't mean the statue and everything else, but you have in-game bonuses and download codes that they provide. And so you're missing out. Even if you buy a second copy of the game, you're still not getting what comes in unless you buy two versions, one to keep closed and then one you can open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and who wants to spend that kind of money?
Yeah.
Says the guy who spent that kind of money before.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've already spent $200 and I like y'all said,
So you got the collector's edition or the regalia edition?
I got the regular collector's edition.
Okay, because I was going to say if you only spent $200, if you only spent $200, you got the collector's, I think.
Yeah. Oh, in the chat room, Lethal Migraine was giving us examples of no discs. Battlefield 5 collectors had no discs, and pretty sure Halo 5 collectors had no disc either.
There's a few that I picked up that were no disc, but see now I'm trying to. The reason that I remembered them is because they were PC titles, and that's par for the course, really. Yeah. You're going to get digital copies of that. The last collector's edition big thing that I bought that came with a physical copy of the game, would it have been Last of Us?
Last of Us 2?
2, yeah. Last of Us Part 2 came with copies of the game. It was not a digital-only code because it came with a steelbook and had the disc inside of it.
Yeah.
That's
interesting. Like everything known to man for the last 5 or 6 years, it's all collector's editions had a physical copy of the disc in there.
God, I haven't bought a collector's edition thing since Last of Us 2, apparently.
But not that long ago.
I mean, I did pick up Destiny's Witch Queen collector's edition, but that's on PC, so it's going to come with a digital code. It's attached to my Steam account, so it's waiting for me. It's already there, so.
Yeah, Batman Ron mentioned as well in the chat room about downloading games. He said he had a phone hotspot capped at 5 megabytes per second. Took Forza 5 took a week to download.
Yeah.
With that, goodness, a week. Buy your game, but you have to wait a week to play it.
Yeah.
If your internet's not up to snuff.
I can't remember a game that I bought that came with just digital codes. Metroid came with a cartridge.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would have to have been Last of Us, but that came with physical media. I don't remember anything. And what's weird is that I feel like it's out there, you know? Mm-hmm. Like I feel like I have, but apparently I haven't.
Yeah.
Huh.
Go figure.
But I have been playing Dying Light 2 since the last time y'all were on the air.
Yeah, let's go back to Horizon real quick. Did you go out and pick up a second copy for you, or are you debating that?
Oh, yeah, I picked up a regular edition disc copy as well while I was there at the store, and I just went ahead and picked, collectors and regular edition up so I can at least have a disc. I haven't decided to open it yet. I'm going to just wait and see what happens and then go from there once I find out when I talk to them.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if you had jumped into that Horizon Forbidden West yet.
I've heard some good stuff, but I'm still addicted to Dying Light too. So
no, that's
maybe
fine.
A little bit.
Pace yourself one at a time.
Yeah.
Take it one at a time if you want to do that. Mm-hmm. And of course, you don't have to. People have juggled game upon game upon game before, but that's fine. So, Dying Light 2, how many hours you put into it?
I've quite a bit, and I haven't been doing the main storyline, but every once in a while, I've been having a lot of fun just going around killing zombies and things like that, and yeah, it's and the graphics, the kill scenes and stuff, with the heads flying off and everything is, it's pretty intense and pretty cool looking. It kind of hooks you. It's fun to play.
Oh, good. I've seen copies of that game on sale for a lot cheaper than I don't know what it retails for. I guess $60 regularly. But I see a lot of people selling digital codes for the Xbox and stuff for like $45 or something. Which is not to say it's a bad thing. It just the price has come down as far as as far as either reseller or aftermarket or something like that. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah. And the odd thing is that digital copies for other games, like if I still want to get Returnal, those things aren't budging at all.
Yeah.
Dying Light releases and a week later it's $45 if I wanted it. Returnal has been out for almost a year now, and still can't find it for a price that feels
reasonable,
worth paying for.
I see. I'm looking at
for
Steam store says $60 for Dying Light 2, and the deluxe is $80, and the ultimate is $100. Yeah, I mean some of those prices on games are funny sometimes. Like what was the one for PlayStation that never went down? I think it's something. Heavenly Sword?
Heavenly Sword
would never drop, no matter what.
Yeah, Lair didn't even drop, and that was a bad game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that one.
It really didn't. I remember being in I think it was a Best Buy, and I was there with James. I think I was there with James, and because we were looking at the game section like we normally do when we walk in there. And we got to the PlayStation 3 section, and it was like Heavenly Sword and Lair and all this stuff, and we're just, look, these prices, they haven't dropped it. That thing's been out for over a year now, and they still haven't dropped the price on it.
Yeah.
Heavenly Sword was good, too.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Mm-hmm. So it had some little small merit. It's a very good game. That's why the prices dropped. But Lair,
it was Ninja Theory too, I believe.
Yeah. So Lair had no business staying inside.
I know.
Really.
I'm surprised
they at a flea market for like $5 nowadays.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I guess I'm surprised they never went back to it. But then again, I think by the time that they would have gone back to it, I believe Microsoft already had a grip on them. I suppose. I don't know. I guess maybe they're not the kind of studio that does that, because Heavenly Sword. That deserved that should have gotten some sort of I don't know,
update, remake.
Yeah,
something,
it'd be nice. It'd be nice
like
to see it. It'd be nice to see a PS5 version of Heavenly Sword.
Oh yeah, there was some set pieces in there that would look really
because that was PlayStation 3.
Yeah, PS3. Yeah,
that was a 3 launch title. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I remember playing that because. It
had those motion controls too, from what I remember.
Well, that was the cool part. There was certain either arrows, or it was a crossbow or an arrow that you could fire, and then you could steer the arrow with your controller and certain things. That was kind of cool.
The other title did that. I think Dark Sector was one that did that.
But you had to move.
You had to tilt your controller.
You had to tilt the controller.
Down.
Yeah. To steer with. It was a stupid gimmick, but it looked cool anyway on the screen. The only reason I remember that game, and the only reason I actually started playing that game, was it was the anniversary this week of it actually happening. I believe it was the tornadoes in Prattville, 2008, and we James was living like in the same neighborhood just across the street,
right?
And they lost power and everything. Mm-hmm. And so they came over to the house and stayed with me because I got power back at a certain point, but no internet, no cable, all that was dead still. But I did have power.
Yeah.
And so they brought stuff over, put in the fridge. They stayed at the house because of the air, because it was February and it was rather warm because we had a tornado come through. Yeah. It was interesting, but it was rather warm and we didn't have anything to do. So I fired up the PlayStation 3 because we had no cable or anything and decided to play Heavenly Sword.
Yeah.
This was a time when your console didn't have to connect to home base to make sure you had the game.
You got power, you got a game, have at it.
You can play it. Yeah, exactly. So so that's when I started playing the game and went through the entire thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really, really like that game.
Yeah.
I hate that they didn't do anything else with it or didn't return to it. I mean, it got no sequel, it got no DLC, it got nothing.
Probably because it had too many similarities to God of War.
That
might have been it.
In fact, that's where everybody went with it. It's like, it's Lady God of War or something like that,
Yeah, it's kind of like they did with Uncharted and Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
same game, different main character. Yeah,
it's male Lara Croft or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
Well, man, good hearing from you. And you asked about the collector's edition. I did pick up the Regalia edition of.
Oh, you got the good one, huh?
I bought it, or at least I bought it from Amazon the day it went live. I saw that guy that I follow on Twitter, that Wario guy, sent out that the editions are available. And so with Amazon, you just go ahead and buy it because they don't charge you until it ships. And so I went in and put one in just in the event that this was something that was going to sell out and not get restocked. And it didn't get restocked until launch day. Yesterday, I saw Best Buy have copies of it. I saw Amazon restock as well. Not for very long. They're all sold out now. So, yeah, I picked up one of those, but I will tell you that I put it on eBay to sell it. Because the more I looked at it, the more I realized $280 is ridiculous. That is ridiculous, and for me.
But someone will be willing to pay that.
They were.
Time.
They were. So now I'm waiting for it, which, by the way, it got delayed. Did yours arrive on time? When did yours arrive?
It arrived yesterday, and I picked it up yesterday afternoon.
Did you? Oh, so did you buy it from GameStop or something?
Yeah, it's through GameStop.
Yeah, see, I bought mine through Amazon, and so it did not ship on Friday. In fact, Friday I got an email from them saying, there's a delay in your shipment, so we'll keep you posted. And I thought, oh, great, this is going to really ruin my little eBay thing I got going on. But anyway, they did later on in the day, they updated and said, hey, it's shipped, it'll be there Sunday, which means that I can take it to the UPS store on Monday and get it shipped out and get it to the guy that bought it. So, I thought about canceling the order, and then I thought, you know what? Maybe I can make a few extra bucks by putting it on eBay. And by a few extra bucks.
A few.
And I mean, and I'm not.
Few.
Yeah, we're not throwing sarcasm. We don't mean few, and it was actually a lot. I mean, $30 profit, maybe, on that.
But a profit regardless.
Yeah, it's still a profit regardless. I should have been. I'm not very familiar with the eBay world. I was a long time ago, and I mean a long time ago, like 99 and stuff, when that thing was around. And I wasn't really. I was more of a buyer than I was a seller. I tried selling a PlayStation 3 on it once, back when that was a big deal, where it's like, oh, you can only get them on eBay, you got to sell them. And so I tried selling one on eBay, and I think I did, but not for that exorbitant amount that people were selling theirs for.
Yeah, you may have had the bad timing on that one, because it was usually around Christmas time when it first came out that people were paying ridiculous amounts of money, 4 figures sometimes, for those things. A buddy of mine did that before with the PS3, the PS4, and the PS5. Every iteration he waited to the right time when people were willing to pay $1,000, $1,500, $1,750 for a new console, and he was always able to get a couple. And if the price was good enough, he'd keep. If the price wasn't good enough, he'd keep one. But if the price was really high, he'd sell them both. I mean, I'll wait. I'll get another one later. But I've got a good amount of money from those two that I put on reserve before everyone else. So
yeah. Well, so anyway, that got sold. I'll pick up the game, down the line. I still need to finish the first one. I've been watching during my exercises in the afternoon. I've been on double speed. I've been watching a playthrough of the first one. It's like 11 hours long. But when you watch it at twice the speed, I've only been watching it for like a week, and I'm 5 hours in. Or 6 hours. I think I hit the 6 hour mark this morning. So making my way through it. I think though that I'm going to. I downloaded it to the PS5, so I think I'm going to go back to it and try and go through. Watching this person play through it, I realized I never should have gone exploring like they kind of want you to do. They want you to be able to do whatever you want to do, and I got myself into kind of a mess by doing that. So I think I'll go back and start it and actually just follow the story, to get through it. I'll do side quests as they pop up, but stick to the story and get through it. So that's likely what I'll do. And then down the line, maybe pick it up later. So, well, Chris, it was good hearing from you.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
Take care, man.
Take care now.
Let us know next week what Sony tells you.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of curious myself. But,
I am very curious.
Maybe if they give me at least a code for the extra stuff and everything to use with the standard edition, or give me maybe a refund off the price that I paid for the regular release. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Good luck.
And I've already put my comments on their blog on PlayStation's Facebook page, and some people are reacting and everything. Then when I've explained the reason behind it, and why I'm a collector, and like Nintendo taking their stuff down, like if you got a physical, you can play it no matter what down the road.
Well, wait a second. Okay, Chris, hang on. This may be the principle of the thing, and if it is, just say so, and I'll completely understand. You weren't going to open this box anyway.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if it had a physical disc in there in the collectors, so I was the
you
one
were
open it,
okay. That's what I wanted to get to. If it had a physical copy in there, you were going to open it.
Yeah.
Okay, but because
just
it doesn't,
everything else in there.
You're not. Gonna
I'm gonna. No, I'm gonna just hold on to it.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. I was trying to make that connection of, wait a second, you weren't going to do it anyway. So what did it matter if it had a physical or a digital copy in there? But I completely understand that if it had physical, you were going to remove it. So, okie doke. Well, thanks for calling in again, and we'll talk to you next week, man.
All right, y'all have a good afternoon.
Later, man.
We'll see you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, time to take a break. We will come back with more of In-Game Chat after we hear all these ads, but we are going to hear this music from a game called Edge of Eternity. Battle of Eternity is the title of this track. So we'll be back with more of In-Game Chat right after this. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. This is awfully bombastic. This is from a game called Crossfire X. And it's the music you hear during the main menu screen. Welcome back to the show. Let's start off with what we've played. RJ, it's been 2 weeks. What you been playing?
A little more GTA Online, a little more doing of that. I haven't been able to get back into Sentinel's Sacrifice because I'm still getting a little bit out of Warframe. The fun I have with playing with others in that game instead of trying to do solo all the time. Because I've been able to unlock a whole bunch of stuff in there just by playing with 2 other folks in there. So I've been spending a little more time on that. A whole lot of features in there that I wasn't even aware of in that game that was available to me.
Warframe?
In Warframe. That all I had to do was just play certain missions. But the problem with the game was there's so much going on, and I've been so far back in that game that it was overwhelming of all the choices I've had to do. There were so many locations on all these planets that you had to go to and do this, and just basically going through all these quests and these missions and these storylines, side stories, main quests, all this other stuff. There was just so much to have to go through, and I was just overwhelmed and didn't know what path I had to take. So playing with a couple of friends of mine, they were able to guide me through some areas I had to go to. I was like, wow, I could have done this literally years ago, picking up different pieces of equipment that was needed that you essentially need to continue the storyline, basically. You're not going here until you do this first, but I know what I had to do first. So I spent a bunch of time doing that with Warframe. I didn't get to play it, but I did pick it up. I picked up King of Fighters 15, and from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are having a good time with that so far.
I was going to ask if you picked that up. We've got music for it coming up later.
Yeah, and I did like Chris was dealing with his limited edition. I did pick up the limited edition, so it comes with the soundtracks. So I'm going to be able to listen to that at my leisure whenever I get a chance to. And just like I said in there was game codes in there.
I was about to ask you, did the limited edition, was it digital only?
No, it comes with the game. There's a disc in there, but there's 3 codes that comes in there with it.
For the extra stuff,
pass and little different outfits and things like that. Right. So I've yet to put those in, but they're in there. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing this week since last time.
Yeah, and we were talking during the break. The only thing I think Whitney's just played Animal Crossing.
That's it.
That's all. And Wordle.
Oh yeah, Wordle. Can't forget that.
Yeah, everyone's picking that up ever since since that news came out, didn't they?
Well, I mean, I was playing it. Well, New York Times bought them a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, I mean, the news came out, and there's people like we have to get some thinking before we get some subscription. Get as much as you can.
Right, I know.
Get as much games as you can.
We figure that's coming. We figure they're going to put it behind a paywall.
Yeah,
but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
but
still, play it while you can.
Yeah, I know. It feels different.
It does.
It feels like it's either more challenging. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to judge. It's hard to judge something like that to say, is it more difficult? I'm not sure, because I had some tough ones before they got bought. But
I can't think of it. I can't think of it being any more difficult. I mean, there's a whole bunch of 5-letter words in the English language you can pick from.
I know, right?
So what are the odds?
That's why I don't feel justified in saying that it is, but it feels that way. It feels difficult, more difficult than it was, but. I could be looking through some lens of objectivity or something.
The difficulty for me is
the other way around.
Millions of 5-letter words. Pick one.
I know.
You have 6 shots. Oh, okay.
They did remove a lot of words from the word list that were originally in there. Mm-hmm. Anything that was considered profanity and stuff like that, removed. Mm-hmm. So you can either guess them, and they will never be one of the words. It'll
give you that this is not a word type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we know it's a word.
Can't use that word, or it's not, whatever the case may be. And to be honest with you, the original guy that created it, he probably didn't have those words as the words of the day, but you were allowed to guess them. Mm-hmm. You were allowed to use those words in there, so you could see if any of the letters were part of that word. But,
I mean, that's the gist of it. The first guess you put in there, put as many be original as you can. Put as many different letters in there that you can get in there.
See, Bama says the one this morning was tough. It's been tough almost all week this week. The one this morning was probably tough, but I got lucky in my first two guesses and got it on my third. Actually, I would just say I got lucky in my third guess, to be honest with you, because I picked that word thinking, nah, but I'll be able to clear out these letters that I get and just to see, and sure enough, it was the actual word.
Yeah. Shortest amount of guesses you've had to do for a word.
I've gotten it in 2.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Wendy?
2 or 3?
You've gotten it in 2, I think. You've gotten it in 2 before.
Yeah.
Never gotten it in 1. Mainly because I use the same. Everybody has a starter word, and maybe a couple of starter words.
Or like everyone picks the same 5 letters in Wheel of Fortune.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. That one. Yeah.
Well, because then you have to look for, and in fact, the word that I use as my opener word contains, a variation of the RSTLNE.
Yeah. There you go. You know it.
Exactly. And the second word covers the other letters that aren't in, or that can't be used. My opening word is later. Yeah. LATER. It uses RSTLNE. My second word is noise. It does reuse the S. Or it does reuse the E. That's the only reusable thing. Yeah. But it covers the Wheel of Fortune rules in that way. I used to use Ouija, or Ouija, whatever. OUIJ. Yeah. Which covered a lot of vowels, which is why I did that. Mm-hmm. It got my O, my U, my I, and my A out of the way. And in some weird versions, the J was like, oh, hey, that's part of it. So those are my opening words. My opening words now are later and noise because it covers that. And today, I got today's word in 3 because I used later, noise, and then figured it out. So.
Good. Yeah.
I need to add those words to my word list.
Yeah, she has a notepad, and which is great. I am not whatever. I'm not. This is not a dig at you for keeping a notepad of your Wordle
I don't
words.
care if it is.
Not at all. If you want to, and I'll try and find them. My missed notes. I can show you all of my missed notes, which is from playing the puzzle game and writing down. It's a lot like what you see when I'm playing Uncharted, and you see Nate go through and he'll see something and he writes it in his little journal so you can reference it. That's the exact same thing that I would do in Myst. I would see something, I would either make a drawing of it or make it. Now, see, back then you couldn't do it. Back then you did have to keep a journal of if you wanted to, of things you saw so you could remember them later, of coordinates, of numbers, of letters, of the ways things were positioned, that sort of thing. In later versions of the game, you didn't have to do that anymore. You could just screenshot. So I could just take a screenshot of what I'm seeing, and it would load it into your in-game like notebook for Myst or Riven or Exile or whatever version of Myst I was playing. Yeah, which is nice. I miss the note taking at times, but boy, it's real convenient to just get a screenshot and then look at it later. Yeah, say there it is. That's exactly what I don't have to rely on interpreting either my handwriting or my artistic ability to figure out the solution to a puzzle. So. Yeah. The mine car section was great, man. That was the most fun. In fact, I looked for mine car sections in every single game that they did after that, or at least something that was on par with that. And Exile had a great one. I know either Myst or Riven had one that was it was on an on-rail type roller coaster thing. It may have been Myst. Riven, I think. And then Exile had a really, really good one. It was real cool, and you had to get the track all set up, and then you go through it, and it was really nice. She played Wordle. I played Uncharted 4. We beat Uncharted. We finished through Uncharted 3, and then we jumped to Uncharted 4, which is a jump. And I know I've been talking about, hey, 2 fixed these problems with 1, and then 3 was like, whoa, this is amazing, and it's all on the same machine. There's no point in doing that from going to 3 to 4 because you're jumping a generation. You're even using a brand new engine or whatever the case may be. They moved from the way they were doing those games to the way they were doing Last of Us and everything else. It just looked amazing, and there's no real reason or way to compare. Technically, there's not. All the other little things, story beats, the writing, the general. Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3 had that Indiana Jones feel of here's this real world stuff, and then when you get to the very end, supernatural. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's all fairly convincing. And I don't mean real world as in like this guy could do all of this stuff. I only mean real world in the sense of, oh, here is this actual, you know, country that we're in, or that's, you know,
based on reality.
Yeah, there's some thing, some part of the game that kind of keeps your feet on the ground until you get to that supernatural part, and then it's just whatever. Yeah. Uncharted 1 had the zombie things coming after you. Uncharted 2 had the beasts, the big, I don't know what they called them.
Sasquatch.
Well, they called them Wendigos.
Wendigos. Yeah.
They called them Wendigos, but then they turned out to be the people who drank the water in the Lost City and got this ability to. They kind of went crazy, and then they dressed themselves in these things to scare away the people. And then we got to Uncharted 3, which again provided supernatural things because again tainted water apparently, and. You know, that was the one where Drake was seeing visions and these fire people, or the Jinn, D-G-I-N-N, yes. Jinn.
Did you say DG?
I think that's how it's spelled, isn't it?
DJ.
DJ, I'm sorry. D-J-I-N-N, yeah, Jinn. Anyway, it had those. Uncharted 4 doesn't do any of that. Uncharted 4 does not... Because obviously the staff has changed. Amy was involved in 1, 2, 3. Amy started on 4. Amy lost the job and was no longer with them anymore. They redid everything, mostly. Yep. And it was run by, for all intents and purposes, run by the guys who did Last of Us. And it was more, I don't want to say grounded in reality, but they have none of that supernatural stuff that comes up in the game at all. And that's fine. I don't mind that. But those are the comparisons that you have to make once a game has made a generational leap like that. Yeah. From PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, or PlayStation 5 again.
Because 4 focused more on the interaction between the characters this time, didn't it?
Mostly, yeah. I mean, 4 is so.
Because like you said, it's all the supernatural stuff that was the forefront of 1, 2, and 3. But then 4 was like, to me, looking at the clips and everything, it was like the real interaction between all the characters, really, and the relationships they fostered throughout the entire series and whatnot.
Yeah, 4.
Oh, and payback for things that they previously did in the first 3.
This is true.
That comes back and bites them.
And that's fun to see when you sit down and play them all back to back to back as we have.
Yeah, when it's fresh on your mind.
Yeah. The first one is whatever it is. Then the second one you go through and. It's they're still on this thing, and in fact in 2, I remember in 2, Nate's character was ready to give up. He was like, "We don't need this is putting you in too much danger. It's putting everybody in too much danger. We don't need to go." But his friends, whatever you want to call them, Sully, Elena, everybody else said, "No, you've got to push on. You've got to keep going." And then 3 turns around, and it's a little bit different. Nate wants to keep going, but they all want him to stop. And then 4 does kind of the same thing. But 4 puts more drama in there, if you want to say that. I mean, 1 and 3 are very, very popcorn, if I could relate it to films, popcorn film type things. Yeah. It's a fun little adventure romp and that sort of thing. You get to 4, it's longer than any of the other previous games. It has more emotional tug, emotional pulls in it, emotional strings, emotional story beats in there than anything else, than anything previous. Especially where Nathan is concerned as far as like, hey man, stop doing this stuff. It's none of this is worth it anymore. You don't find a different way because you're putting yourself in danger, that sort of thing. And it's interesting to see that arc go through there. And I know they never planned it to do that way, but it's interesting to see it happen. 1 is whatever 1 is. 2, Nate's fine with quitting, but everybody else wants him to stay. 3, Nate is like, okay, we're going to keep doing this, but everybody's like, no, you probably shouldn't. And then 4 is like 2 characters tell him to stop, and then this one character who has a very, very tight pull on him, his brother, because everybody knows his brother, is the reason he keeps going. Mainly because his brother's going to die if he doesn't. But they bring it up over and over again about, we can find a better way to do this. We don't have to go through this. We'll change your name. We'll put you in hiding. We'll figure something out where we don't have to go through this or whatever we're trying to do. But nah, man, they keep going. Anyway, and I forgot about the grappling hook mechanic that was thrown into 4, which was good for the traversal type thing. But anyway, playing through that again, it's just a lot of fun. It's great. I'd forgotten. I haven't played it since 2016, I believe, is when it released. So it's been a lot of fun to go. It's been a lot of fun to go back through all of these games and play them. So, and I guess you've enjoyed watching them.
Yeah, I have definitely.
Yeah, we're almost done. We're almost done with that. I think with Uncharted 4.
I like, you know how with each game the quality, that you see on the screen.
As somebody who's observing the playing of the game, I would imagine you would appreciate that and observing that and saying, okay, this is better for my eyes to see the way this way, because it just looks so nice.
Yeah, 4 is
so nice.
Awesome.
It's just
so clear.
We sit there and we'll just be like, look, the water that runs, like his neck has imperfections on his neck, and you can see the string of water find those different imperfections and go through it and everything else. The whiskers on the thing and watching.
And the light reflect.
Oh man!
It's amazing.
There was something else I remember seeing, and I can't remember what it was, but I want to say I pointed
know
it
because you're just like, look at this, look at that.
I know. I can't remember what it was.
In games like that, there's always a moment where you look and see how much attention to detail they put into these scenes and set pieces, things like, especially those AAA titles. You really want to see how well detailed they are. Yeah. And Uncharted apparently pulls that off.
They do very well. Yeah, they do very well.
The movement in the grass and the greenery. Remember
right,
that?
The foliage that they put in. It's just really, really good, and the way it moves and that sort of thing. Of course, we did watch a Digital Foundry did their tech analysis for Horizon 2. Which is a top tier PS5, big AAA type thing from Sony.
Yeah, the moneymaker. Yeah,
and they talked about their foliage and then their water that they did with. Oh my God, the water in Horizon 2 is just amazing looking. From any type of. If you go back and watch, if you find that video, the Digital Foundry video for the tech analysis, not the PS4, PS5 comparison, just the regular PS5 tech analysis that Digital Foundry did. And you can watch the first 6 minutes if you want to. I don't even think you have to watch the first 6 minutes. You can probably start at minute 4 to like minute 7. And it is, they go through the way the foliage works. Like, here's how this looked in this one. Here's what they've done with this one. Here's how the texture packs look for this. Here's they look for this. Here's the water. Here's this. Here's the wind and the way that everything moves when it's blowing. Here's this. So yeah, I think that was one of the other thing. Sam's shirt, like, not even during a cutscene. It was just during gameplay or something. Just the wind was blowing, just flowing like that. Just a small little detail they didn't have to put in there at all. Yeah. And it was just, I don't know. There was other things where he gets muddy when he's going down into the thing, the tracks that are left. It's just really nice. Really, really nice. Photo mode's amazing too.
Yeah. Thar says in the chat room about Horizon, so the NPCs are incredible and they set a new bar for action open world RPG.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really, really looking forward to getting in that. I kind of want to play the first one though to kind of get back into it because I never played the first one. By the time I get around to Horizon Zero Dawn, Forbidden West will probably be $20. It'll be PS Plus. Yeah, probably the limited legendary edition, the one with all the DLC. Yeah, that comes in afterwards. That's what Horizon. That's what the first game already is. That's exactly how I got the first game. It was $20 and it was a legendary edition with all the DLC, and I got that still in the shrink wrap to be actually.
sitting on my shelf right now.
Yeah.
But I'm still busy with Warframe and GTA and King of Fighters and Street Fighter and Virtual Fighter 5 and all that other stuff. So.
I think that first Horizon is the first game that Sarah played on her PlayStation 4. Mm-hmm. You remember we did that for her? Yeah. And so she got her PlayStation 4, and I think she picked up that game along with it, and that was her first game that she played on the PS4. I think she really enjoyed it. I got into it, but I'd only got very far before I got to a point where I felt like, I'll come back to this, and I never went back to it. Anytime I did go back to it, it was not, I don't know, it was a bad place for me to save.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we've been through that with Last of Us 2. When you're playing games based on purely on story and telling the story, you really can't have long gaps.
Well, luckily I
wasn't
very far in, so starting over probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah. Or at least maybe I can find a game save there that is before the place that I got stuck in, where I'm low on health and low on all kinds of resources and still in the middle of this fight.
Yeah, I think a friend of mine did that, stopped in the middle of a fight, a very tough fight with low resources.
Yeah.
So imagine the frustration of coming back after a few weeks' time and still being stuck in that same situation.
Yeah, watching this playthrough of this guy, he is not at that point that I was. He's not even in that same room that I was in. So like he hasn't come upon it. But he is much further in the game than I was. Mm-hmm. So, which means I got to a place that I'm probably completely underleveled and underprepared for.
Right.
But I initiated the fight anyway, and now I'm kind of stuck in it. So it wasn't very far in. So I think just doing a restart would be fine on that. I feel. I don't know, but anyway. We got to take a break. I didn't even get to. I got in. Destiny, playing Destiny. Whatever. I did the two Grandmaster Nightfalls after I finished the buggy end story. They released the last mission of this season expansion, the last mission before the big expansion comes out next week.
Right.
And it was buggy. People could skip the cinematic at the end, like anybody in your fire team. So even if you picked up randos, if somebody skipped it, it skipped for everybody. And you couldn't watch it.
Way to ruin it for everybody.
Stupid. There were things like if you went too fast across the bridge and got to a specific point on the bridge before an enemy ship made it to that point on the bridge, it would bug out and keep you from progressing. People didn't get weapon drops at the end of the thing. People didn't get triumphs that were clicking at the. Some would, some wouldn't. It was just very buggy. Oof. And so they finally just initiated it so that everybody got a completion. And then you got through part 1, which was the completion of that mission.
Right.
And then part 2 and part 3 were go see this person and this person and hear some dialogue. And if you missed the cutscene, go to YouTube.
There you go.
But this morning I got on there and I played it with a completely random group. Nobody skipped the final cutscene.
Yeah.
I got my weapon drops. I got my triumph. I went and talked to the lady, and then I talked to Saint 14, and then I went to go listen to the last message because there's a triumph for that, but it was not there. I said, well, I talked to one of the guys we were doing the Grandmasters with. He said it worked for him on a different character. And so I thought, well, I'll log in on my alt and I'll go in and I'll do it that way. Well, anyway, when I joined them, they were in the same instance where that communication is. Yeah. So I went over there and I activated it on my hunter, my main, and it played for me, so everything was fine. But yeah. I've finished that up. I've done, I think I will log in one more time to Destiny, and that will be to get rid of all the stuff that I'm supposed to get rid of before the thing drops on Tuesday, because those things are going to go away regardless. Yeah. So they say spend them now because we're going to remove them from your vault after this season because we're not using that currency anymore.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that. There is get all the other little things that I've just been put off picking up because I usually wait till the end of the season. Hop on my alt characters, grab all the stuff that they need through there, even though I'm not playing them, but grab it anyway. And I read about this recently, one of the PSAs that they tell you to do is set your character up for the next time that you're going to log in. In other words, put the weapons on that you want, gear them completely out and ready so that when you do log in after the expansion starts, once Destiny has a habit, Bungie has a habit of releasing new content and automatically throwing you in there as soon as you open the game. They don't give you the option to select it from a map. They just automatically put you into it and say go. And
surprise firefight.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting. I've been playing this game for however long I've been playing it, and somebody made the suggestion of the last time you log out from the game before Witch Queen launches, make sure you're combat ready for the next time you log in, because it will just thrust you into whatever it is. So I'll do that, and that'll be it. That I won't have to worry about it. So
if I ever get back in there, I'd have to make sure that my weapons are still upgradable or something, because a lot of my stuff, they said we don't work with this. We don't work with this equipment no more.
Yeah, we're way behind. I got to take a break. But I was going to say, the problem that you had with Warframe you mentioned earlier, would be the same problem that you're probably going to have if you get back into Destiny. Yeah. But I am here for you on that one. Okay. I don't know if you got other people to bring you along in Warframe, but our clan and everything else, we're here for you.
I'm part of the clan, yeah. But if I do get back in there, I'm gonna need your help.
All right. We're more than happy to give it, my friend. Okay. We got to take a break because we are way overdue. This is music from Uncharted 4. It's called "Cut to the Chase." We'll be back with more of In-Game Chat after this.
Is this the longer break?
Welcome back to In-Game Chat. This is music from Lost Ark. The Sea of Procyon, maybe? P-R-O, which is pro, and then C-Y-O-N. Pro, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Close enough.
Yeah. Lost Ark, I'm curious if anybody played it. I think it's free to play. It's Amazon makes it. It's on Steam. It got a lot of... Let's see, it broke 500,000 concurrent players on Steam, and that was before it was free to play. That was just from people who had bought whatever edition of the game that would get you early access. And I think it did pretty good after that. I think it actually did get... Yeah, it broke 1 million players. It became the top Steam game by concurrent players on whatever day this article was. I'm sure it didn't stay there. Hardly anything ever does outside of Counter-Strike, and that sort of thing. But
I'm looking at images of it now. It looks like I guess I don't even know what the genre is. That what is that, World of Warcraft? That over the field play or whatever, like Diablo or World of Warcraft.
I have not even looked at gameplay of this thing. Yeah. Because it doesn't feel like it's anything that would interest me.
What's that? League of Legends, I think, has the same type of gameplay or whatnot.
Yeah, I've just I kind of surprised me. I wasn't even paying attention to it, which is more than likely the case because I probably did pay attention to it when it was announced and looked at it and said, "That's not me," and then just one of those things you file in the "I'm going to forget about this and not worry about it" because that ain't for me. Got some folks in our clan, our Destiny clan, give it a shot as well, and we're playing it. So I don't know. I haven't watched any trailers on it. I haven't looked at it at all. And the reason which is weird to say. Like, why? How do you know you're not into it if you've not watched any stuff on it? What I feel like is that I did see something on it at one point and said nope. It took one trailer for me to say nope, and just completely forgot about it in my head because it was like that's just not my thing, and so it never stayed on my radar. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look some stuff up just to see. I could be missing something, but I'll check. I don't think I am, but it could happen. So we were talking about other games. I played Vampire Survivors again, some more of that. That's a really quick, like, if you can make it 30 minutes, the game ends after 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If you can survive for 30 minutes, which makes gameplay feel like, oh, I'll just put in another 15 or whatever the case. I'll probably make it to 15, something like that. And twice now, I've beat it once. I beat the level once with one of my guys, and then which unlocked a new character, and so I used him, and I got to like 29 minutes and 40-something seconds before I died. So I got close, but I didn't get that close. So yeah, I honestly was going to play a lot of it today because I planned on just popping into Destiny, finishing up that one mission that was buggy as all get out, and then flip over to Vampire Survivors and play that for a little bit, and then go start on Horizon. But while I was doing that with Destiny, somebody mentioned the Grandmasters, and I only had 2 to get the title of Conqueror for. I've had 2 for the past month, I don't know how many months. I've just had 2 left to do. And it wasn't that I couldn't find anybody to do it with. If I really wanted to give it an attempt, they would have helped me out. But I just kind of written it off as like, For the past couple of seasons, I've had 2 that I just didn't finish. Either 1 or 2 that kept me from getting the title. And this morning, he was on, and I said, well, if they find somebody, I'm here. But I'll just go ahead and do my other stuff. And if they find somebody, and by the time they find a third, if I have the time, I'll jump in and do it. Wasn't long before they found. I was still finishing my little mission thing whenever we got a third, and we did 2 runs. So, anyway, currently playing Lost Ark. There are over 1 million people currently playing Lost Ark. 1,030,270. Curious. Take a look at it.
So is that what it plays like? League of Legends, things like that?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I was asking who was in the chat room.
I honestly don't know.
What the play style is like.
Because
I'm in the same situation you are. I mean, the play style like that, the World of Warcraft, League of Legends, I think League of Legends, and Diablo, things like that, never really got into.
Yeah, MMORPG. It feels like a Final Fantasy, but I could be wrong. Like a Final Fantasy Online type thing. It kind of.
Oh, okay.
It has an aesthetic that may have that, but then again, I feel like I'm speaking out of my out of turn here because
I'll just have to do some
research. I ain't that into Final Fantasy either, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just have to do some research, look at some videos on YouTube or something, and get some imagery and look at it.
It's free to play, but I think it's only free to play on PC. I don't think it's available on consoles, but I could be wrong. I could easily be wrong because it's also a game I just haven't been paying attention to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But it's been doing very well. So, Hey, we're talking about Horizon Forbidden West, and the reviews for that game have been, well, they've been really good. High marks, basically. 9s out of 10s, 4s out of 5s, things like that. 9.5 out of 10, things like that. So. The reviews for that game have been very well.
Well, I was interested in seeing those 9.5s and things like that. Like, why didn't you go to 10? What could have possibly knocked that half a point off?
Well, I've seen some of the reviews that I've seen have said that the first game they got the story right, but they got
it better not be difficulty. Please don't be
difficult. No. There's nothing. It's not gameplay is not a part of it.
Okay.
Gameplay is not a part of any complaints. In fact, gameplay has improved. They're actually fine with the gameplay. Right. They've implemented things that are.
Yeah, look, I was just hoping it wasn't one of those. This game is difficult, and therefore it hurt my feelings, and therefore I'm taking a point off. That type of thing. No. Don't want to see that.
The reviews that I've read have been the sense that the story is not that great.
As opposed to the first one.
As opposed to the first one, yes.
But that's
the first one,
isn't that typical with a lot of sequels, though?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I thought the story in Uncharted 2 was better than Uncharted 1, if just to go back to something that we were referencing.
Yeah, okay.
I would say, yeah, I probably prefer Last of Us 1 to Last of Us 2.
I certainly do.
What's another one that I see? I prefer Burnout 2 to Burnout 1. Burnout 2 introduced crash mode, so of course I do.
How about Dead Space?
I didn't play
1 and 2.
I didn't play
1 and 2?
Other than like starting it and not getting very far into it because it's a horror game, so
okay.
that's you know where I go there.
Okay.
What is another one?
But the original's better than the sequel.
Yeah, I'm trying
Story-wise.
to think.
Chat room's probably giving us some answers, right?
I say Infamous was still better than Infamous 2. Or what do you think?
I played the original Infamous, and the story did keep me interested enough to keep playing through all the way to the end. So that's a pretty good mark for me for a game. If the story is interesting enough to keep me playing for multiple hours on end, further than I normally would with any other game, then you got a story that's hooked me. And Infamous did that.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, I thought Infamous 1 was better than Infamous 2, but it may have felt like, I think Infamous 2 just felt like more the same.
Possibly.
I didn't get a sense of, I don't know. I didn't get a sense of progression from 1 to 2.
Yeah.
I felt like, you've just changed the city, but you've given me basically the same thing that I was doing before. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. What else? Super Mario Brothers 2 is not better than Super Mario Brothers 1. That's an interesting way to compare that, though, because Super Mario Brothers 2 was not even in any way a Super Mario game. Remember? They had to use the, was it Doki Doki something?
Yes.
Yeah, Doki Doki Panic?
Yeah.
I think was the name of it, and they had to reskin it for some reason. Yeah.
I still prefer the original, actually.
Max Payne 1 was better than Max Payne 2, I think. Max Payne 2, I liked some aspects of Max Payne 2.
Max Payne was the real gritty film noir type character and a heck of an introduction to that character at all. But
and they tried it again in 2 as well.
They tried it in 2, but it just didn't have that same, for some reason. Yeah. I can't put my finger on, but it just didn't have that same grittiness, I guess, of that one.
Lethal Migraine says Caddyshack 2 was horrible. Caddyshack 1 was great. Yeah, I know. That's the same. Yeah, I get that.
Ain't that the truth, man? Yeah.
I totally get that.
There's a whole lot of money grab movies.
That was that's just in the movie type of thing. What's another game where sequel that I could say the sequel is better than the first one? Metal Gear Solid 2 was probably better than Metal Gear Solid. I think I heard that, but I could be wrong. I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember when that series went off the rails.
Just trying to remember standout sequels, Metroid 2, no, Metroid was probably better than Metroid 2. Super Metroid obviously was it's basically the first ones on their specific consoles, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Lethal Migraine says Titanfall 2 better than 1.
Yeah. That's a good one there, Lethal. I know it died super quick. Yeah, that is very strange. Like Titanfall 1 released, and it was only on Xbox and PC. And people clamored for a sequel. They're like, we're going to get a sequel. And it's going to be released on all the different platforms as well. Oh, this is fantastic. Bombed. Just horribly. But was better than the first one. I don't know if it was because they released it at the wrong time. Maybe there was something that just killed the competition. Killed them.
No.
To make them go unnoticed.
Did they advertise? I'm about to say, did they advertise it? Did they put it out there for
I don't remember.
Public consumption things?
It
like
was
that?
EA. More than likely, EA was focused on their little Star Wars Battlefront games because that was their big new IP that they bought.
Yeah,
and it's like, hey, get Star Wars Battlefront. Titanfall 2's out. Star Wars Battlefront. So maybe, I don't know. I could be wrong on that completely, but it does feel like it
sounds like you're perfectly right. Actually,
I think it was underpromoted, but not only that. it never. Yeah, it's considered great now, and people are like, "Yeah, Titanfall 2 is great, and we really should get another one." But nobody's going back to it either. No. You know, nobody was there when it launched, which is sad.
Yeah. Should have been a lot bigger than it was.
Yeah, Mech Warrior 2 is better than 1, says Bama Brian. Lethal Migraine says, couldn't get into Division 2, but wasn't it widely considered better than the first one? I think so. I didn't get into 2 very much either, but I think it was considered better. Assassin's Creed 2 was better than Assassin's Creed 1. Mm-hmm. I will say that. And I will say it because they were able to flesh the thing out more.
Yeah.
1 was a good, like, cornerstone, you know, like building block, like foundation. 1 was a great foundation. Mm-hmm. And 2 did one of those things where it took everything good about 1 and made it better, and took everything that was bad about 1 and fixed it.
Yeah.
And then they just went over the moon with expanding the area that you could traverse, the story. You had your own little villa, which was massive, like as your home base type thing. That thing was huge in itself. And then you had all of Rome. Or was it Italy? Or I'm not Italy. Venice? No, Venice was in there. Yeah, it was all of Rome. So yeah, you had all that stuff. Watch Dogs 2 better than Watch Dogs 1? Not sure, because I played 1 and I never played 2. I don't think the bar was very high for them to do better than 1. Crackdown 1 is better than Crackdown 2 or any of the others that they've done. Mm-hmm. Crackdown 1 was better. Anyway, we could be here all day doing this, trying to compare sequels.
Look at those Saints Row in there.
Yeah. Saints Row 3 was better than 2 or 1. Yeah. And probably better than 4. Mm-hmm. And whatever they're doing now. So, speaking of sequels, Wolf Among Us 2.
Oh, yeah.
We had that happen in the 2 weeks that we were gone.
Wolf Among Us 2 was Wolf Among Us 2 was the only Telltale game
no, they haven't released 2 yet.
I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Wolf Among Us.
The first one.
Was the first Telltale game that I got into enough to finish to the end. I mean, going back and forth between with all the decisions that were made in that game. So yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, we got a trailer for it and provided a release window.
You saw that trailer?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So try to see what the deal is with
hang on. She hasn't seen the first one, and I don't know if it spoils anything.
Okay.
And she hasn't seen the trailer for the sequel because we haven't played the first one yet.
I was just going to mention the name, but I guess.
I just didn't want to spoil anything for her, but I do because we did mention. I was like, we're going to have to play that. It's not very long to go through. There's so many different games that we got to go through now because Netflix announced that they were working on a BioShock film, and that's a series that she hasn't seen, BioShock 1 or 2. Which, by the way, there's another one to go through. I think BioShock 2 is not as good as BioShock 1. However, there's a piece of DLC.
I played both of them, but I enjoyed 2 a little more than 1.
Well, there's
the story of it anyway.
Yeah, there's a piece of DLC for 2 that apparently outshined the game it was made for. You know what I'm saying? The DLC was better than the game itself. Mm-hmm. And so. Yeah, so BioShock is a series that we have to go through. BioShock 1, BioShock 2, and then BioShock Infinite to go through those.
I'm trying to think, there's so many pitfalls that could be done with BioShock.
It's just like we were talking about Uncharted. And just like Lethal Migraine had asked me if I was going to go see that film. I don't know if I'm going to go see it. I haven't been one to get back out into the theaters just yet. Mainly because we sit at home and we watch these movies and we're like, boy, I'm glad we didn't go to the theater to see this.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been a movie we've seen that we've thought we should have gone to the theater to see that one.
Not yet.
No. By the way, this has nothing to do with anything, and we were telling RJ off air. If you don't know anything about the movie Lamb, good. Just go watch it. If you have no idea what the movie Lamb is about, then good, you're set. Go watch it. It's weird. I'm not saying it's good, but if you're looking for something to kind of screw with your mind a little bit for almost an hour and a half, not even an hour and a half, go watch Lamb.
To screw with your mind.
I say screw with your mind, but just one of those things where you finally, like, they give little hints and you're like, oh, that's strange. And then all of a sudden
you see it.
And
what?
You're like, is this a,
are we talking,
what is this?
Are we talking Twilight Zone level mess with your mind, or something
No,
Wes Craven type?
Like, Twilight Zone did it intelligently, and I'm not saying this is doing it stupidly. I don't think it is. But I think the reaction they may have wanted you to have when you get the reveal is not the reaction you come away with. It's like if you're taking a sip, you're going to do a spit take, and either pause it, back it up, or just sit there. Huh? So yeah, I know. I'm being vague for a reason, because she looked it up to know what was going on. I waited for it. And I think you should wait for it. I think you're better off seeing the way they want you to see it, and then just, because they're playing it real. They're playing it normal. They're not playing it in any sort of way that I would think people would.
The way you're describing it sounds like this movie was made. You're going to get it was a completely accidental reaction, which has happened before. We wanted to say this, but people took it like this, and that was not what we were aiming for.
And I'll also suggest, at least, if anything, the first 2 episodes of Pam and Tommy.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Specifically the second episode, because so far it hasn't shown its face since.
No, it hasn't.
Oh man, that is some freaky stuff. It's just weird. Anyway,
truth is stranger than fiction.
Oh, there's no truth in that, in the part that I'm talking about in episode 2. There's no truth. He wrote about it in a book, and that is where because I looked this up to see why is that there. He did a book, a biography or something that Tommy Lee wrote. Yeah. And in that book he mentioned having a conversation. And so they videotaped that, or they filmed what that conversation might have looked like. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. We have to take a break. When we come back, we will stop talking about game sequels and all this other stuff. We'll move into other things that took place in the past 2 weeks. And yeah, feel free to hit us up on Discord. Give us a call, whatever the case may be. 272-9228. Music here from a game called Infernax. I don't know anything about it, but it's very 8-bit, I think. 16-bit, 8-bit, you'll hear in a minute.
Retro.
It's called Consider Yourself a Hero. That's the track name. We'll be back here in just a few on In-Game Chat. This has a very... this sounds like a game that... Contra, maybe? I know you got your headphones off, but Contra?
Attack.
Yeah?
Yeah, something side-scroller action. A shooter, a space shooter, could be like that as well.
It's got a real familiar theme to it. Anyway, it ain't Mega Man, though. That's Contra. I think that's Contra. Welcome back to In-Game Chat. This is music from King of Fighters 15, called Enforcement is the track title. Do you recognize it at all? I don't know.
No, I don't recognize it. Probably some new stage that they've got.
I have no idea.
Probably some new team or some character-specific theme that they've got in there. A lot of things I hear about in 15 is that some of the character-specific themes are like remixes from classic SNK titles, things like that. So I might be looking to hear some of that when I open the soundtrack up and listen to it.
All right. So speaking of things that sound familiar, Here is Infernax again, and maybe I'm misremembering because I haven't listened to. I pulled up the Contra music on YouTube here, and so I was wanting to see
the original Contra.
The original Contra,
okay.
yeah. And it's really only in the beginning. Okay, there's that. Now listen to this. Oops, wait, I don't have that turned on. Yep, silence, total complete silence. Here we go. Very similar, right?
Very, very similar.
Very similar. Yeah.
Very.
Anyway, I was just curious, and there.
Yep, you're right.
I was like, is it? I hadn't heard that music from Contra in a long time, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
From that long ago, from that particular game, it is in your head. It is in your system.
Yeah. Where have I heard this before? Oh.
Yeah. No, I mean I may not be able to place the game, but I can tell you that that is somewhere in my childhood. Some box in my childhood up here is right there. Contra. That's what it was. Oh, goodness. So anyway, our last little segment here. What was I going to say? Did I hear something? Anyway. I thought I heard something play through or something outside. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. One of the songs that's coming up here is to play ourselves out here later on this hour is from Sifu.
Yeah.
The reviews for Sifu, which was a game I was really interested in, but I can't. I don't know. I think the cost is too much. Says the guy who spent all that money on a thing. Well, see, I sold it though. That's the thing. I'm justified in saying that now. I sold it because I'm not actually keeping it. But yeah, it's $40. It says 40 to 50, I guess, depending on the version that you buy. Yeah. It is okay. 9 out of 10 from some places, 9.5. Some magazine gave it a 2 out of 5. Shack News gave it a 4 out of 10. Let's see. Polygon didn't give it a score, but they did say Sifu is incredibly frustrating because beneath all of its messy, clunky contrivances, there is a fantastic action game that I really, really want to play, but it can't get out of its own way, and its high-concept ambitions spoil its fundamental pleasures. Now, then you look at an article that gave it a 5 out of 5. Took me 15 hours to beat, and I thoroughly enjoyed every minute. With such replay value and an appealing price point, it's easy to recommend to everyone, especially if you're into modern roguelikes or From Software games. And that's without mentioning how it pushes past some of its inspirations with its cinematographic flair, God, I didn't know that was a word, and haptic combat. It is as much a tightly told vendetta story as it is a masterful brawler. It's an easy Game of the Year contender, and it's only bloody February. Yeah. Shack News says there are so many games out there that do what Sifu does, only better. Honestly, if you want a punishing grind where your efforts will actually pay off, you're probably better off just taking a kung fu class in real life.
Too difficult for him?
Do what?
Too difficult for him?
Some people have said the difficulty is not what they expected from the game.
Yeah. I see one article that says, Sifu review, not for the faint of heart or the impatient.
Yeah. I was curious about it because my favorite thing to do after I beat a Batman game is to go into the arenas and do the combat stuff.
Yeah.
Not the little stealth missions, but do the combat trials.
Yeah, like how long of a combo can you keep up?
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, specifically, I loved Origins did it best. I think Origins did it, and then Arkham Knight borrowed from it. But Origins had the 1 versus 100, and it was basically you and it's 100 opponents.
Yeah.
Good luck surviving.
Waves.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they would come in waves,
okay.
but it would always be more than just one that you're fighting against.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And you could have, and there was a certain amount that would fill the screen, so maybe 10 or 13 guys at a time on screen. And, when you start the game, a couple of guys spill in, and as you kill them, get rid of them, more keep coming in. Until like about 13, maybe more than that, would fill in, but no more. So as soon as you took one out, it would repopulate with the other until you had all 100 done. Or died from it, whatever the case may be.
I think I remember something like that. A friend of mine was doing, we were watching him play something like that, the big wave of villains there. And we just saw his combo number just keep going up and up and up, and it was just something to see. Like, we were just wondering, and at the point we just thought, like, okay, how long can he keep this up? And he just kept going, and that number never broke. And we were just amazed at how he was able to keep that.
It's fun.
That system going, man.
It's fun to play it. It's sometimes fun to watch it.
Yeah.
Except I'm too wrapped up in playing it, so that when I do watch it, somebody else do it. I'm like, that's not what I would have done there. I mean, he's clearly doing fine, but I expect him, because you have your own patterns in fighting.
Yeah.
You have your own muscle memory of, like, when I do this dodge, I'm going to do this attack. As soon as this thing is charged up, I'm going to use it to do this so I can extend my whatever. And so it's hard to sometimes watch, but man, it's really fun to play. Really fun. When they get the combat right, and I always thought Batman did a pretty good job at that on the combat side of things, to making the combat look really, really good. And I was expecting Sifu to do the same thing, and it probably does. I haven't played it yet, but just on a little bit more challenging, which is fine too. I think if you can find that pattern, you can still enjoy it. I don't know. I haven't played it, so who knows. What else do we have on our news thing? Google quietly ditching Stadia is likely the case. I think on the episode that we had before we took our break there, I was saying that it looks like they're trying to get rid of Stadia and turning it more into a tool for developers to use rather than a gaming console, platform. Basically, platform. Ubisoft is really trying to push that NFT stuff, man, and they're trying to push it on their employees. They rewarded, and that is in quotes, employees with a Ghost Recon Breakpoint NFT hat. They're trying to get on the NFT thing. I don't know how it's going to work for them, but their employees don't want it, but they're still doing it. What else do we have? We did the review roundup for that. There was. I also included the review roundup on the Uncharted movie. Critics are not fans of it. Audiences vary, I believe. It goes back and forth.
I think we were talking about it during the break. I was asking about. I think we may have talked about this before, but movies based off of video games. I'm always interested in the difference between the audience who knows the material, the source material,
right,
and the audience who doesn't know the source material and wasn't like that. Because the example I always come to is Max Payne. If you're a fan of Max Payne, you play the original and you watch the movie, you're like, kind of mixed on how that movie was. Or in my case, was like, not very good. But someone who didn't know the source material, I've talked to who watched the movie, they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The supernatural element and all those other things that was going on, the hallucinatory things that Max was going through on Valkyrie in the movie that with Mark Wahlberg. But if you were a fan of the source material and knew it, you were like, not that good.
I think, and Max Payne, I guess, would be a horrible example for that. But I think Max Payne could work for somebody who has no idea what the game is about or
that's what I
anything
mean,
like that.
Because movies are all about trying to get as many audiences as possible. So we want the fans and the people who don't know the source material.
And I haven't seen Uncharted, but I feel like Uncharted can actually stand on its own. I think plenty of people can watch Uncharted without having ever played the game because it's safe. I will say that. It itself, the game itself, borrowed from films.
Right.
So to translate the game back into a film is like a copy of a copy type thing. Yeah, you may lose some quality from it, but it's still based on a formula that works in films. The little adventure treasure hunting thing, whatever the case, that still works. I would say, to go back to, if I were to show you a trailer for Assassin's Creed, the film, and you have no idea what any of that stuff is about, you likely, unless you're specifically interested in what that trailer shows, you may not have any interest in it. And I'll do you one better. I'll go to the Warcraft film from ever how long ago. Let me show you a trailer for Warcraft. Now, I know Warcraft is a game. A lot of people know Warcraft is a game. A lot of people played Warcraft. That movie still did not do very well. Actually, it may have done well overseas, but I don't think it did very well here. So much so that they have never once entertained the idea of a sequel for that thing. And
goodness,
what?
Warcraft 2016 domestic box office 48 million.
Yep.
Worldwide box office 440 million.
See?
Goodness.
Yeah, I think it did better overseas than it did here.
Yeah.
So, Rapscallion mentioned Sonic. Yeah, I know Sonic. What an interesting story for that film, right? Like, they nearly blew it with nothing about the movie changed except the look of the main character.
Yeah.
They didn't change writing, they didn't change storyline, they didn't change voices, they didn't do anything but change the look of that character.
Yeah.
And that's likely the saving grace that it had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they didn't have to change anything else but that character.
It had the will of, like, it had the reputation of, like, hey, the makers of this film actually listened to the feedback and actually did something about it.
It still has very little connected to the game, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a big fan of Sonic, then, you know, you should have the nerd rage that we sometimes have when it's like, what is this? This is not a Sonic game. This is, where's my Green Hill?
Where's my Green Hill Zone?
Where's my Emerald? It's none of that is there. They took a character and said, we're going to make a movie with him that just uses the character and nothing else.
Yeah.
And so
I'm trying to think of the plot for I want to say the bad one. The one was I think it was the one that came on my Xbox. It was just Sonic the Hedgehog, like the remake they did. There was like a bunch of city stuff going on or something like that. I'm trying to remember, but I can't even place it right now. But yeah. What you were saying.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, Lethal, that the taking the source material probably would have made for a really horrible movie, but the only thing they did was change that character, and it worked out for them.
Yeah.
So much so that they have a sequel that is probably going to do it's probably going to do very, very well.
Yeah, a lot of people are hyped about number 2.
What's that other one? Detective Pikachu was one that I thought it was like out of nowhere. It was Pikachu. It's a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And again,
voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
Right, voice.
Yeah.
Pikachu doesn't have a voice.
Yeah.
Outside of saying his own name.
Yeah.
But he does in this, and he does in the game version as well, which is also weird. It's just kind of an obscure side game to a Pokemon series, right? Detective Pikachu. That's just so strange that we're going to pick that version to make this live action film with. We have had countless Pokemon cartoons, a cartoon series, cartoon movies, countless. We want to do a live action. Well, which one are you going to do it on? Well, that really obscure one that maybe not a lot of people have played. This one, we're going to take that. Just a stroke of luck that's the one that's going to be used and it's going to work. You know, same thing with Sonic. We're not going to use anything but the character, and by the way, we're going to screw up the way this character looks.
Yeah.
Until people said something and they changed it, and that was
all she wrote.
I think they owe everything to the amount of the fan noise that got them to do that.
It was they blew up social media on that one.
And it's almost a shame that they didn't think about that for Uncharted when fans were like, "Hey, people don't look like the characters." But I haven't seen the film to tell you that, hey, it still works. You know? The casting seems very off on Uncharted.
I was thinking Tom Holland was too cute for that role.
Young would be the other one.
Yeah.
And short, but I don't really care about
the height thing.
I don't really care about that,
Movie magic can control height. You know? We don't worry about that, but...
Just ask Tom Cruise. Dude, he is short.
Yeah.
But he does not make it look that way.
5'7"? Yeah, it's 5'7", right?
Yeah, it's 5'7". I don't know what he is, but there is a contract where he, or was, where they could never really put that on display. In other words, when you film a movie with me, and most of the time he's executive producer on it anyway, so it always goes the way it needs to go.
Right.
It was it was never like make me taller than everybody else. Mm-hmm. It was more like don't show off my actual height. Use your tricks to make it look that I'm the same. What was the other one? I'm
sorry. I keep thinking about that scene in Days of Thunder where it was blatantly obvious how short he was with Nicole Kidman.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he had the kind of clout back then that he wanted to.
Yeah,
but he was working on it.
Yeah.
And so it's totally in there now. It was something in it's in the contracts of the Fast and Furious guys about how many times they can get hit.
Oh, that's right.
The punches they take on screen. Like their character can only get hit so many times, and their character can never lose one of the fights. They're real ego driven on that thing.
Sounds like self-inserted fan fiction at this point.
At this point, it becomes that way with that group. Yeah,
yeah,
totally. We've gotten way off track, but then again, who cares?
It's part of our charm.
Who cares? We're having fun talking about it. We don't care. What else was in there? I'm looking through the news stuff that we have here, and I saw where Newegg is. They came under fire. A guy that I was back when I was building my PC.
Right.
I don't know how long it's been. I built that in 2020,
last
didn't
year.
I? No, not last year. 2020. I built it the year I had the heart attack.
Really?
Because I got it finished right before I got COVID. Yeah, I built it in October. So anyway, I had spent 2020 kind of like researching my products. What am I going to buy? How am I going to do? What am I going to get? And I used this Gamers Nexus, I believe is the name of the channel. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of case reviews. And that's where I was going to look at my cases, what I was going to get for a case.
Right.
Anyway, Newegg really screwed him over. Like they ordered a motherboard. They needed one. By the time it finally got there, they didn't need it anymore. So they didn't even open the box. They just slapped the return label on it, sent it back. They got an email from Newegg saying that they would not give them the refund because it was damaged. And they said, well, we didn't open the box. We never opened the box. Mm-hmm. We just sent it back. And they did a whole video on it. They exposed the letters that they got between Newegg and them. And then Newegg suddenly found out that, oh, wait, this is coming from a, whatever you want to call him, influencer, video guy, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And quickly changed their tune.
Typical.
Which, again, Gamers Nexus called them out on as well, saying the only reason they got back in touch was because somebody found out that we had this much exposure to this many people, and that's the only reason.
Exactly.
And so they kept putting pressure on them to the point that I was going to say Netflix. Newegg is trying to, or at least has put forth a front of, we are going to do better. And that's just...
It's pointless at this point. You already exposed yourself for what it was. It's too late.
Steve, Lethal Migraine. Thank you, Lethal, for giving me that guy's name. Steve is his name.
Yeah.
And that was the guy. Oh, gosh.
Sorry, we didn't realize how many eyes were on you when we did this.
Rapscallion says the moral of the story is be a YouTuber. Sure, that's a good place to start, but as a YouTuber, expose that, Mm-hmm. To expose it to get it changed. Not for you, but for everybody else.
For everybody else behind
it's going to get changed for you, no problem, because of being a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Get them to change it for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Steve was going to do, and to the point that they were never going to buy from them again, and they were going to continue to tell people not to buy from them.
Yeah.
Because of what they were doing. They never opened the box, but they said, no, it's how many people have gotten something from Newegg, opened the box that it came in, not the product box itself, but the box that contained the product box. Mm-hmm. They've opened that and said, I don't need to, I'm going to send it back. And then Newegg says, well, we can't take it. There's a restocking fee. Just so many different times where they just said, nah, go ahead and tell them it's broken, and then we're going to keep their money so we don't have to refund them. Mm-hmm. Just bad business practices. Yeah. So I remember Newegg used to be...
Nice.
It used to be Zip Zoom Fly, or... God, Google had them at some point. I can't remember what that was called. something else. But yeah, and I remember buying from him too. So anyway, we're at the end of the show, and we got to go. So if you've learned anything from this show, I need you to watch Lamb. And I don't know.
Second episode of Pam and Tommy.
Yeah, second episode of Pam and Tommy. But also pay attention to your sequels. See what's better than the first, and that sort of thing. See if you can go back. I don't know. There's no homework.
Yeah, give us some more ideas of sequels that were better than the original. Things like that.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. Go ahead.
I'm about to say, play Wordle.
Yeah, Wordle. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, appreciate you. Giving us the week off here. We'll be back next week. Have a great week. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday. Music here from Sifu.